One Zambia, One Nation, thank you so much for joining us on the news desk with me, Amos Zulu. Here are the top stories. 30,000 beneficiaries to be added to social cash transfer in Luapula province. The African Development Bank to invest $12 million United States dollars in the improvement of water supply in Kabwe. GIZ hands over 10 kilowatt solar power system to UNZA. Plus, contractor warned for delaying CDF project. And now the news in detail. Authorities in Luapula province are in the process of adding 30,000 beneficiaries to the social cash transfer scheme to bring the provincial total to 160,000. Provincial Social Welfare Officer Enoch Sakamuna says the department has seen a sharp increase in the number of social cash transfer beneficiaries in the last 2 years. Some of the beneficiaries are using the money they are receiving from the scheme to invest in small businesses to construct decent houses. Godfrey Chikumbi now reports.
The Social Cash Transfer Scheme is a social protection program that is run by the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services. The program targets the incapacitated or labor-constrained and extremely poor households. Luapula is one of the provinces with a high number of beneficiaries of the Social Cash Transfer Scheme in the country.
As I'm speaking right now, we have 128,000 people on the program of social cash transfer, which means there's an increment. As if it is not enough, again we are going to add 37,000 more people on the program of social cash transfer. This means that a lot of people are going to be captured.
Eligible beneficiary households receive payments every 2 months, translating into 6 times a year.
When UPND came into power, the disbursement amounts increased.
Although the money might seem to be little, Abraham Mongo prudently used it to acquire a plot in Mwenda village, a short distance away from the central business district of Mansa town. According to Mr. Mongo, he now leads a decent life, unlike in the past, as he can now afford 3 meals a day.
Since I've started getting my social cash transfer, I managed to use sometimes the good things to my side. So as you've seen already, I bought this place, 3,500 from social cash transfer.
This house construction project may require a bank loan to be accomplished, but social cash transfer beneficiary Melon Kaluba is building a dream house. Ms. Kaluba testifies how her life has not been the same since being registered for social cash transfer.
From the 400 who are being paid, I started buying bags of cement, one at a time, and now we have this completed structure. I'm so grateful to the President of the Republic of Zambia, wherever he is. I'm on my knees with gratitude for what he has done for me.
Mansa district is one of the districts in Zambia that has the highest number of social cash transfer beneficiaries.
We are on the ground listing more beneficiaries. We are targeting this time around 4,858 beneficiaries. Once this enumeration is done, actually by the end of this year, our total caseload is supposed to come to 21,000 plus beneficiaries.
Another beneficiary of social cash transfer is 69-year-old Alice Chanda in Mwenda village. Miss Chanda has invested her money in a small business, gardening and building projects. For Zanis TV, Godfrey Chikumbi reporting in Mansa.
And in a related development, Mwichech Boya reports that beneficiaries of the social cash transfer in Zambezi district have commended government for improving their livelihoods. The recipients of the social protection scheme say that the program has helped to alleviate poverty levels in their households.
Government has remained committed to its promises of improving the livelihoods of the vulnerable citizens through the social cash transfer and women empowerment programs. The beneficiaries of the social protection nets have disclosed that the program has helped to improve their living conditions.
Azemali anakutukafwa tunatungisa mu watungisa muzu zo ya kahangu nakulanda shima mnungulingana kangushina ngoja kuya kumande jawo tulise sawa uchiwa kutulisa vatu kafe batata wose bafale na mama
Joy Fundulu is the beneficiary of the Women Empowerment Program.
Ngitwala tuhani na festi ya mungu aputukilemo kulanjisa chuvwalechi na lunga walupa na waishi na lupa luwene lukuzi.
The beneficiaries further appealed to government to extend the program to other vulnerable community members.
Mulomba cheka fulumende nge iliko na hope ikwa ya kulinga ngocho ushinga nyega ya kulinga ngocho cheka kechi bakafweko naba kwetu bazo banasaleho mangana bakiko naba bakwenga nge yami nge bakwetu bamwe ndi mu group.
Indeed, the social cash transfer and empowerment programs have helped in elevating poverty levels in many households. Mwinchech Poya for Zanis News, Zambezi District, Northwestern Province.
The Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock has delivered over 200 chickens through the Scaling Up Nutrition Santu project in Mpika district. The chickens will be passed on to other beneficiaries of the project in the district. Mpika District Commissioner David Siami has commended the National Food and Nutrition Commission for monitoring the project and ensuring that beneficiaries adopt best nutrition practices. Here are the details.
Most households have adopted best nutrition practices in Mpika district in Muchinga province to help reduce stunting. Through the Scaling Up Nutrition Sani 2 project, mothers have been able to rear chickens, do gardening and other activities. The Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock has distributed more than 200 chickens to be passed on to other beneficiaries.
We are distributing chickens to mothers, to children under the age of 2. How we have done it this time is we actually went to the health facilities and asked for the children that are in red, children that are actually underweight, and those are the ones that we selected that we are actually giving the chickens today. What is expected of them is that the chickens will start laying eggs in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Once they start laying the eggs, they will start giving the eggs to the children to improve on the nutrition.
Mpika District Commissioner David Siame has commended the Food and Nutrition Commission for continued monitoring of Sani 2 projects.
In much as we know that we do have a project running, but that project requires supervision. It's very important. We check on the certain indicators that would actually show whether we're on course or maybe we are static, and if it's negative, what sort of action are we going to take?
Beneficiaries have thanked government for the project. Peggy Coutinho for Zanis in Mpika, Muchinga Province.
In other news, Chief Government Spokesperson Chushi Kasanda has denied assertions by some sections of society that government issues uncoordinated statements. Ms. Kasanda, who is also Information and Media Minister, says that contrarily, government issues coordinated statements stating that there are various channels of communication. Speaking at a weekly media briefing, the minister also disclosed that government is in the process of coming up with a communication handbook. Ms. Kasanda has since apologized to members of the public who may have been aggrieved through various statements, saying it was never government's intention. Speaking at the same briefing, Minister of Education Douglas Yakalima said government is working round the clock to ensure that it meets the target of every child in school having a school desk to sit on by the end of the year.
He has appointed ministers in different ministries. This could have been addressed by the Minister of Labour. This could have been addressed by the Minister of Finance. So it does not need the President to address them. These are the things that can be addressed through a ministry. But for some reason, I have noticed in the country is that we think that the President is the only person that is going to make these decisions. The President has given powers to his ministers. That is why he appointed them, to resolve these issues, because one thing we need to remember is the President is only one person. He can't be in every ministry. That is why he has us in the ministries to resolve these issues on his behalf.
So we are taking care of all that. infrastructure, as I said, we are now, this CDF has been expanded. If you check on your social media, you find, say that infrastructure is being built. Not only that, even ourselves are doing that. Already now we are going to construct more than 120 secondary schools. We've started with North, Western, and Copper Belt province, about 61. By the break of our year, we would have done another remaining 61 out of 120.
The African Development Bank, ADB, will invest over $12 million United States dollars to improve water recirculation in Kabwe District. ADB Senior Water and Sanitation Officer, Zambia Country Office, Herbert Chinokoro, says the funds are meant to restore operations at the Mulungushi Water Treatment Plant, which has been out of operation since October last year. Kelvin Tembo has the details.
Most areas in Kabwe District have been grappling with poor water supply for some time. But the scenario is about to change as the African Development Bank is set to spend over $12 million United States dollars on improving water reticulation in the district.
12.4 million specifically for Kabwe. So we are looking at urgent interventions to improve the water supply situation. Like MD has said, supporting government and Lukanga to restore Mulungushi Water Treatment Plant, which is out of operation, I think, since October last year. So I think once that comes on board, we'll probably see an improvement in supply hours to most of the areas in Kabwe. So the water supply component covers Mulungushi. It covers rehabilitation and extension of pipe networks around Kabwe, with a focus mostly on where the urban poor stay.
Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation Principal Infrastructure Engineer Noel Kunda says the bank will also support works in other districts of the province.
The African Development Bank supported us with financing to do feasibility studies and designs covering about 15 towns. And I think that covers about 4 or 5 from the Central Province, so Southern Province, Northwestern and Central Province. That study was done, but the debt situation we find ourselves in, we couldn't finance the construction of infrastructure. But again, the bank has come on board after we engaged them with financing specifically for Kabwe in excess of $10 million to finance just the emergency works.
The support has elated government.
Government is extremely delighted to partner with yourselves as a bank, African Development Bank. You have been an all-weather friend, starting from way back in 2012, and also that the machinery that the utility company is utilizing there or using there is literally obsolete. Because it has outlived its usefulness. And 450,000 liters of water would be pumped, as it were then, from that end. And now with your coming on board, we are praying that there will be a huge improvement.
With programs like this, we expect a better flow of water. So this project will have come at a better time for us. That needs to be taken into account, because obviously the President is talking about having running water in all public institutions.
Kelvin Tembo for Zanis in Kabwe District, Central Province.
The news continues. A local non-governmental organization called Empowering Others Helping Communities, ECHO, with support from Village Water UK, is constructing ablution blocks with flushable toilets for use by pupils at Mukukutu Primary School in Alolo District. Speaking after witnessing the commencement of the construction works, ECHO Programs Officer Annie Kapambwe says the flushable toilets will help pupils improve hygiene and sanitation standards at the school.
Mukukutu Primary School in Alolo District, which was established in 1934, will soon have the first ever flushable toilets. The construction of flushable toilets at the school are part of the WASH provisions that are carried out by Empowering Communities Helping Others, ECHO, with support from Village Water UK and in collaboration with Nalolo Town Council. Speaking at Mukokoto Primary School during a field visit at the construction site, Eco Programs Officer Annie Kapambwe disclosed that the toilets under construction will also have a disposing place where the girl child can keep used sanitary towels in order to promote hygiene and improve attendance among the girls.
Toilets that are going to be flushable. We are also going to make sure that they have got bins where our girls will be throwing their pads, and eventually we'll also put up an incinerator to ensure that we burn those pads, and this will encourage our girls to stay in school and improve attendance.
And Mukokoto head teacher Mariam Ndia said the coming of flushable toilets will improve the operations of the school and motivate the learners.
We have received a gift of flushable toilets. Initially we are going to have 3 for girls and 3 for boys, plus 1 for bathing facility for boys and 1 for girls. To the school at large, it will really help also to improve and motivate learners, especially that this time around they will use a flushable one, the thing that they have never used in their lifetime.
Meanwhile, Mukokoto Teachers and Parents Association PTA chairperson Lakson Likando thanked ECHO and its partners for recognizing the school.
For the gesture which has just come, we think there will be a good challenge for the girls to motivate their education. So I think to the people of ECHO, I really thank them.
Sifue Mangala for Zanis News in Nalolo District, Western Province.
Over 280 youths sponsored under the Constituency Development Fund CDF Skills Development Component have graduated from Nkumbi International College this year. College Principal Jennifer Chibuye says the youths are drawn from districts across the country and have graduated with various skills. Carlos Bunda gives us more in this report.
I was raised by my mom. As a single parent, you know, it's very difficult when it comes to the finances, saying that she's just a marketeer. So it was difficult for me to go into a tertiary.
Common hardships faced by many underprivileged youths to access tertiary education and acquire skills to better their lives. However, through the skills development component under the expanded Constituency Development Fund, CDF, youths from vulnerable households have a chance now to acquire skills from various training schools. At Nkumbi International College, over 280 youths have enrolled and graduated with various skills this year through CDF sponsorship.
Enrollment levels have started going up, where probably in the past we only went up to 800 students. This year, 2023, as of January, we had more than 1,000 students, largely because of CDF.
Beneficiary youths have paid gratitude to government.
It was very difficult for me to go to school due to resources, and I did appreciate the government that they have brought in the CDF.
Those who don't want to go back to school, I urge you, please go back to school and learn what you want. It is for free.
Local authorities now want more youths to take advantage of the CDF Skills Development Facility.
For Kapiri districts, for 2022 CDF allocation, we sponsored 266 students, of which about 49 students were sponsored at Nkumbi International College. In the 2023 CDF, we've seen a tremendous increment in terms of the sponsorship. We've had about 596 students.
Actually urging the community, and especially those who are vulnerable and those who don't have the means, to come forward and access the funds.
Carlos Bunda, Zanis, Kaprimposhi.
Now, GIZ under the Green People's Energy Project has handed over a 10-kilowatt solar demonstration system to the University of Zambia Solar Energy Center worth 800,000 kwacha. University of Zambia Acting Vice Chancellor Annie Sikwibele says the donation will go a long way in improving energy education at the tertiary institution. Mona Chibende covered the event and now reports.
As a renewable source of power, solar energy has an important role in reducing greenhouse gas emissions and mitigating climate change, which is critical to protecting humans, wildlife and ecosystems. It can also improve air quality and reduce water use from energy production. This is the reason GIZ, under the Greenhouse People Energy Project, has handed over a 10-kilowatt solar demonstration system at the University of Zambia Solar Energy Center worth 800,000 kwacha.
I wish to thank GIZ through the Green People's Energy Project for this generous donation, and wish to state that this wonderful gesture will help the physics department in actualizing the motto on which the university operates, which is service and excellence. I'm informed that the Green People's Energy Zambia project was commissioned in August 2020 with the aim of training 260 frontline professionals in solar energy application in rural areas.
So the project procured training materials and equipment so that the university can use these to conduct trainings and do demonstrations. We have installed a 10 kilowatt solar demonstration system with 29.28 kilowatt hours battery backup system to show the students the application of solar energy on a larger scale. It was roughly an investment of 800,000 kwacha for the solar installation, and then additional training material was provided, summing up to around about 40,000 kwacha.
Meanwhile, UNZA Solar Center for Excellence Coordinator explains what the donation means to the center.
I think that we are going to make a big contribution to the increased uptake of solar energy. So this is in brief our very long journey, but said briefly about the setting up of the solar center. Now our vision for the future is to scale up the solar energy center. This is not enough. We need to scale it up. We need to have a proper administrative structure. We keep on getting a number of projects. We have our own account so that we can take care of the money, and we have been taking care of that money very meticulously. But what we need is from the university is more support. University has been supporting us, more support in accessing of the funds. Sometimes it becomes a bit difficult. Of course, the university is trying to safeguard those funds, but sometimes it becomes too complicated and too difficult to access the funds. So I will be requesting university authorities, administration, to provide easier access. Sit down with us, understand our problem, provide easier access, and see how we can scale up our solar center, how we can deliver those projects which people have entrusted onto us. So thank you very much.
Mulachiwende for Zanis in Lusaka.
Agriculture officers have been urged to desist the temptation of getting inputs under the Farmer Input Support Program, which they are not entitled to. Copperbelt Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Daniel Kamenga has called for prudent selection of viable farmers for the FISI program in light of the persistent complaints of stolen inputs for farmers. The Deputy Permanent Secretary was speaking during the sensitization about the new handbook for agriculture officers.
The Department of Agriculture on the Copperbelt has embarked on sensitization of the officers to be involved in the distribution of the Farmer Input Support Program for this year's farming season. The sensitization is meant to equip these officers with the information in the new handbook to guide them on how to avoid audit queries and input theft. Copperbelt Deputy Permanent Secretary, who addressed the officers, urged them to work with stakeholders such as the church in the identification of viable farmers.
Farm Support Input Program will be starting this year. All of you are expected to be equal to the task. I emphasize on that point because we experienced some anomalies, a lot of anomalies last year, where most of the officers would not pick or would not capture the farmers. We don't take pride or pressure in disciplining officers. The list of officers who could not manage to capture the farmers, and this is a lot of pressure to provincial administration, because some mistakes are very difficult to be corrected.
Provincial Agriculture Coordinator outlined the sensitization program.
And as you are aware, they say a lot of investments have been done, changes due to some challenges we used to have. So we thought that before we initiate engaging the farmers, let each and every member of staff to be aware, so that tomorrow no one should be said was left behind. Hence our meeting here. And we'll be here for 2 days discussing the operative of our FISIC program.
The agriculture officers also shared their concerns in the implementation of the Farmer Input Support Program.
Agriculture is an engine of the nation. May agriculture be remembered on transport. Extension-wise, motorbikes, camp officers, we have trouble to reach to all corners of the districts. So I'm appealing for transport in order that we effectively engage into the extension services.
From the interactions that we have had with our farmers, they are saying, why can't government also procure some additional inputs using CDF? Because there are so many beneficiaries out there that want to take part in agricultural production, but the number of beneficiaries that FISIP is targeting is very few.
The successful implementation of the Farmer Input Support Program depend on these workers who need adequate preparations to ensure the farmers are well catered for. Tovini Ngombe, Zanis, Ndola.
Lusaka Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Alex Mapushi has directed all administrators of public facilities such as schools and hospitals to ensure that land on which their facilities are sitting is titled. Mr. Mapushi has warned people that have encroached on land belonging to public institutions that government will withdraw such land titles. The Deputy Permanent Secretary was speaking when he conducted a fact-finding mission together with a team of engineers to establish the extent of land encroachment at Munali Secondary School.
Expansion project at 5 schools sitting on one plot in Lusaka district is threatened by continued encroachment by illegal developers. Munali boys, Munali girls, and Kaunda Square secondary schools have been affected by the encroachment.
This is the land which was meant for building schools for all these residential areas. That's why we have 5 schools lying on this land. Now, all these schools I've mentioned need expansion.
Others are Tunduya and Mumana primary schools.
The encroachment of the school grounds will affect a lot of learners. My appeal to the government is that the encroachment of the school land should not take place.
One immediate effect of the illegal constructions around the 5 schools borders on public health.
The sewer system of the school has been damaged because we have a pipe which runs from the school there, collecting from Munali boys, Munali girls, and probably Mumana there. They all go connecting the same pipe, which runs now down to the main sewer line. Now, these encroachments which have happened in between, they have damaged that line, and the effluent in the school just spills over everywhere.
Lusaka Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Alex Mapushi reiterates government's resolve for a rule of law while providing interim measures to end the vice.
This is also a warning to anybody that would think that just because land that belongs to a government institution like a school or hospital that is prime and it is not titled, then you can quickly move in and get your title. We shall implore our colleagues at Ministry of Lands to see how we can quickly cancel those titles and demolish whatever building they've set up. This is the reason why we are in a hurry to ensure that we put all properties on title.
Lou Majila reporting for Zanis in Lusaka.
Now, Minister of Education Douglas Siakalima has urged traditional leaders to back the Life Skills and Health Education program, which aims at supporting the delivery of quality comprehensive sexuality education for adolescents. Mr. Siakalima says sexuality comprehensive education, which is now Life Skills and Education and Health Education program, can attain its objective with the support of traditional leaders who have influence on the rural communities which are highly affected by early marriages and teen pregnancies. Speaking when he officiated at the consultative meeting on the Our Rights, Our Lives, Our Future O3 project, Mr. Siakalima noted that the O3 project can be achieved through collaboration with various stakeholders, especially traditional leaders. And United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO Regional Advisor Patricia Machawira has assured that her organization will remain committed in supporting the government to push the country's effort in achieving positive education and health outcomes for young people through the Our Rights, Our Lives, Our Future O3 project. Meanwhile, Lileko Mwamulume Elena from Twin Palm School expressed gratitude to the government for supporting the O3 program, as it has helped the learners to be informed on health and education and make better choices for their benefit.
I know the criticism that surrounds comprehensive sexuality education here in the country. My colleagues are here from Parliament. It came in Parliament, and this is why we had to change, to remove the word sexuality, because it took different connotations. And we said life skills and health. But it means the same thing, all right? And I had to argue with my colleagues from the pulpit to say that I have gone across the breadth of this country, just when I was appointed as Minister of Education, where I would find in Muchinga, in one district, 8 and 9 pregnant children. Came to Chibombo, 120. In Namwala, that percentage which we have as 5%, Namwala tops that. So it means that things are happening. So we cannot hide ourselves to say that things are not happening, simply because we added the word sexuality. Then we want to run away from that. Children are getting pregnant. Can you ever imagine? I go to Muchinga, I find 8 and 9, just in one district. I come to Chibombo, 120. I go to Namwala, they say they are topping up the league table of pregnancies or kids. And then want me to sit down and then start saying that, how do I sort out this issue? Even when I know that we have got a policy of re-entry, but the damage that you get to that child, when they go back to school, after giving birth, they go back to school, they are discriminated against, said, so why don't we nip the bud before it takes place? Why don't we want to teach our children to say that this, you can as well wait until you finish school?
UNESCO has been supporting the project Our Rights, Our Lives, Our Future, which is referred to as the O3 project. The project seeks to achieve sustained reductions in new HIV infections, unintended pregnancies, and gender-based violence through supporting the delivery of good quality comprehensive sexuality education in partnership and under the leadership of the Ministry of Education. Sexuality education that empowers adolescents and young people and builds their agency while developing their skills, knowledge, attitudes, and competencies that they require to make healthy life choices.
The introduction of CSE has helped us pupils in having a better start than the generations before us. We are well informed and guided with necessary life skills that are enabling us to make better choices in life. Honorable Minister, did you know that a good parent leaves a good inheritance for his children? Well, today I want to say that this is a good inheritance that you have given us. You have given us our rights, our lives, and our future. To UNESCO, I would like to appreciate your commitment to ensure that our teachers are equipped with the knowledge and skills that ultimately benefit us. I always wondered what UNESCO was all about, but now I know that you support us, the young people, by ensuring that we know we have good quality education.
Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Gary Nkombo says government remains committed to combating gender-based violence through comprehensive and sustainable strategies. Mr. Nkombo says a range of initiatives are being undertaken aimed at preventing violence, supporting survivors, and fostering a culture of gender equity. The minister said this in a speech read for him by Muchinga Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Matthews Chilekwa during the launch of the village-led one-stop center at Nkula Palace, constructed at a cost of over 600,000 kwacha. Here is Pamela Inambao with a report.
Gender-based violence remains a concern that not only infringes upon the rights of individuals, but also hinders the social and economic development of the nation. This is why the government of the Republic of Zambia and the United Nations Joint Program on Gender-Based Violence, financially supported by the government of Sweden and Ireland with the technical support from the United Nations Development Program, established the Nkula Chiefdom Village-led one-stop center. And speaking on behalf of Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Gary Nkombo during the launch, Muchinga Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Matthews Chilekwa says government is deeply committed to combat gender-based violence through comprehensive and sustainable strategies.
Government is rooted in a comprehensive approach that combines legislative action, community engagement, public awareness campaigns, and the provision of support services for survivors, and we pledge to allocate the necessary resources and efforts to achieve this with vital objective.
The Law Association of Zambia, who are one of the partners in the establishment of Nkula Chiefdom-led one-stop center, and the Ministry of Gender were also represented.
The intention of having a village-led one-stop at a palace of authority like this one is to send a message that avenues for providing anti-GBV-related services are ever increasing with a foothold at community level.
As Gender Division, we wish to thank the governments of Sweden and Ireland for their financial support.
Meanwhile, United Nations Resident Coordinator Beatrice Mutali says cases of GBV needs each one's efforts if cases are to be reduced.
The UN in Zambia is committed to ensure the launch of the Nkula Village-led one-stop center and the accompanying minimum standards, which will result in improved access to adequate GBV services.
Senior Chief Nkula has assured government and cooperating partners that the facility will be guarded jealously.
Our communities in Nkula Chiefdom to be gender-based violence free.
Nkula One-Stop Center Village-led is the first one in Muchinga Province with the objective of ending child abuse and GBV. Pamela Inamba reporting for Zanis in Chinsali, Muchinga Province.
The Department of Veterinary Services in Kabwe has embarked on a mass dog vaccination targeting to vaccinate over 3,000 dogs in Makululu compound. Veterinary Public Health Officer Kenneth Chawinga says the department has received over 8,000 rabies vaccines from Isuzu, Zambia. Take a look.
Rabies is a vaccine-preventable viral disease affecting the central nervous system, and once clinical symptoms appear, it is fatal. In up to 99% of cases, domestic dogs are responsible for rabies virus transmission to humans. Controlling rabies is critically important to prevent human deaths and alleviate its burden in animal species and on local and national economies.
So we're conducting a mass rabies vaccination against dogs here in Kabwe district. This program has been ongoing from 2021, 2022 at one. This is the third one running. So we are grateful to the sponsors, Isuzu Zambia, who traces as Action also included Zambia. So far, cumulatively from 2021, we've received a total of 8,100 doses of rabies vaccine. In this current water exercise, we are targeting 3,100 dogs. So this exercise is very important. As you may know, rabies is a zoonotic disease that is to say is transmitted from animals. So 99 cases of human rabies cases come from dogs. And the problem with rabies is that even if it's 100% preventable by just a simple jab that we're giving to them, it can also be 100% lethal once someone is bitten by a dog that is rabid.
Kabwe District Health Director Tizamfune says rabies vaccination reduces the burden on provision of health services.
The role that the medical department has played here will result in two savings. So going forward, this is actually what we are guiding, because we can only sustainably address a problem such as this using a multi-sectoral approach.
And Makulu residents added their voices on the importance of vaccinations. Kelvin Tembo for Zanis in Kabwe, Central Province.
Here's a reminder of the top stories. 30,000 beneficiaries to be added to social cash transfer in Wapula Province. The African Development Bank, ADB, to invest $12 million United States dollars in the improvement of water supply in Kabwe. GIZ hands over 10 kilowatt solar power system to Unza. And contractor warned for delaying CDF project. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Amos Zulu. Bye for now.